It's another exciting and insightful episode of the Business Roundup right here on your national broadcaster, UBC, and I'm your host, Dennis Igon. Tonight we have two exclusive interviews, one on private sector development and another one tackles matters of dairy farming and value addition in the region. We take a look at the Central Corridor's root deliberations and the implementation of the digital services tax. Don't touch the dial because it's time for serious business. On to our first story. Government has proposed tax measures for the fiscal year 2023-2024. The Minister of Finance has tabled several bills in Parliament, including those related to value-added tax and withholding tax, with the aim of imposing taxes on international telephone calls and digital businesses, among others. Marco Dulo has the details.
Government believes that taxing digital services will generate revenue for the country and help level the playing field for local businesses.
All of us as Ugandans, we should look at it in a good faith. That the intention is not to cripple these services, is not to make it difficult for Ugandans to communicate, to use these platforms, but is also to allow those companies make a contribution to our economy, which money we shall use now into service delivery in the country.
However, there are concerns about how these taxes may impact consumers and businesses operating in the digital space.
Now, Parliament is planning to tax these companies in two ways. That's income tax and VAT. But also one thing that is in limbo is whether it's going to be a withholding or those companies are going to have to pay that tax by themselves. It's not very clear from the text on whether it's a withholding tax or the company is supposed to come and make that payment themselves.
Businesses and consumers alike are closely watching these proposed tax measures as they could potentially impact the cost of using digital services in Uganda. Critics argue that these taxes could increase the cost of doing business, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises, and may ultimately be passed on to consumers.
In VAT, we already know that by 2018 we had something around the ends of taxing multinational corporations offering digital services. But what's happening this year is that scope is being widened and given more depth of clarity. And we still see the same players coming in, cab-hailing services, data digital content platforms, marketplace platforms, all being brought in to have a VAT tax. But remember, this tax is being visited on the non-resident. So it's not the Ugandan who's going to be paying that tax. Of course, basing on how they will price, you might end up paying a few more shillings for enjoying the service.
There are others also which have been providing services like Uber. In the past, we're not able to trace them and see how they can pay taxes, but all this has been worked out. Because you find you're a foreign-based company, you provide Uber services here in Uganda and in many other countries, but then you're not paying taxes, and yet you are doing business.
The move to tax digital services is not unique to Uganda. In neighboring Kenya, the government has already implemented a similar tax known as the Digital Service Tax, which has been levied on tech giants such as Google, Netflix, Meta, Twitter and Microsoft. According to the Kenya Revenue Authority, they collected 174 million Kenyan shillings in digital service taxes in the 6 months leading to December 2022, equivalent to $1.6 million in digital service taxes in the 6 months leading up to December 2022. Wadulo Mark Arnold, UBC News in Kampala.
On matters of regional trade, Tanzania's Central Corridor is expecting to attract more Ugandan freight upon the completion of the electricity-powered standard gauge railway. This was observed by key stakeholders at a transport and logistics meeting in Kampala, organized by the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency.
Uganda stakeholders in the transport and logistics sector have lauded the Tanzanian government for upgrading its road, rail and marine transport infrastructure. This was at the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency Stakeholders Consultative Committee meeting in Kampala.
This corridor is very important to the business community. It's important to government because it gives us access to the high seas. I want to tell everybody who is listening to us that all vessels that call at Dar es Salaam call at Mwanza, call at Mombasa. Now we need to look at how we can leverage on this.
There are high hopes, the railway line between Dar es Salaam and Mwanza, and then Mwanza to waterways to Port Bell to Kampala. We are looking at maybe in the next 1 year or 2 years, the route to be fully serviced. With the coming on board of URC and TRC, then that central corridor will definitely boost our economies in Uganda.
We have been using about 90% of the cargo we are using Northern Corridor. But also, we wanted also to focus on the Central Corridor. As of now in Central Corridor, everything they have improved. In terms of port charges, the issue of delivery note is not there. Multiple weighing is not there. As of now, we are weighing twice from Dar es Salaam to Mutukula. The issue of load tolls, they have harmonized the load tolls. As of now, it is $10 per 100 kilometers.
Top on the agenda of STARCON was to assess the Central Corridor's performance for the year 2022, discuss emerging corridor matters, create more visibility for Tanzania's export and import route, as well as engage key stakeholders in the public and private sector on issues pertaining to the usage of the multimodal Central Corridor transport network.
I want to be very happy to see that all stakeholders is using the Dar es Salaam port. Dar es Salaam port is your port. It's your port. Please come and use it. Not only Dar es Salaam port, Mwanza port, railway. That's why we are spending money to facilitate you to do business in a Central Corridor route.
The Central Corridor's mandate is to facilitate transit transport within the 5 member states. However, this cannot be achieved without advocacy, improvement of transport infrastructure, and consultation with the key players.
These are all efforts to support the trade between the two countries, to support the trade from the port of Dar es Salaam, from overseas, from the, passing through the port of Dar es Salaam to here. And we are also encouraging the exporters to use the same port. If there are any challenges which they are facing, these challenges can be addressed.
The request of the Central Corridor Secretariat. I know there are some challenges, but wherever you will go, you will find the same challenges also. Wherever you will go, you will find maybe some other challenges can be even bigger than for Central Corridor. So you can't refuse to use the Central Corridor because of some challenges. Those challenges, we are here for that. We have to sort out together, isn't it?
In the current financial year, the CCTTFA Secretariat is implementing some major projects in the country. They are the URC wagons rehabilitation to a tune of $300,000, building capacity in maritime sector with the support of at least $70,000, and also sensitization of the private sector to use the Central Corridor route. Charlotte Amuge for the Business Roundup.
Mastercard Foundation has invested $41 million in the Young Africa Works in Uganda, enhancing lead farm structures for youth employment project, which is being implemented by the private sector Foundation Uganda. This funding has been essential in supporting the LFS program implementation and achieving its goal of unlocking new job opportunities for young people in Uganda.
Our topic of today is going to be the lead farm structure. Some of you might have heard about it, some of you might not have heard about it, but this is the time perhaps you are going to be hearing about it. So allow me to introduce our guest. Maybe I'll ask him to introduce himself, who he is and what he does.
Okay, thank you. My name is Apollo Bunyanja Mbazira. I'm the project director for the Enhancing Lead Farm Structure for Youth Employment Project.
Okay.
Yes.
So, would you kindly tell us more about the lead farm structure system of production and how it works in organizing small actors around the final buyer?
Okay, so the lead farm structure approach is more about ensuring quality control and ensuring that the number of small companies that we have in our country can work towards serving a specific market. So simply what you get from the lead farm structure approach is a market leader that has accepted to work in partnership with a number of other companies or suppliers.
Okay.
The interesting thing about it is that the suppliers or the different companies now have the opportunity to work with a company that is in the forefront, they are market leader, they have established their own system for standards that meets the big market they have access to. And so we ask this market leaders, say, you know what, why don't you open your door for other people to work with you? And so that's what it's all about.
Do they have a choice to say no?
They do. They definitely do. We give them a choice, and the choice is simple. You can continue serving the small market that you're working with. Maybe I'm a baker. I produce bread and pastries. I have a choice. I can continue serving the small market I have in my cattle, or I could actually work in partnership with a market leader like Hot Loaf. And Hot Loaf shares with me their company secrets on how they produce their pastries, and I produce pastries, cakes, bread based on their standards and in their brand name. I will be able to serve a much bigger market if I do that, because they have an established brand name.
So it's a compromise of sorts for the small buyer, for the small sellers.
I think it's not even a compromise. It's an opportunity for you to chill with the big boys. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
And every time you have an opportunity to chill with the big boys, my advice is run.
Okay.
Run and work with them. Because there is a reason why they got to where they are. If you tag yourself onto them, the benefits will be much higher for you as compared to you playing your small game where you are. Okay. Yes.
So how do you determine, what's the criteria of determining a market leader?
Okay, so the criteria for determining a market leader is played within our country. And I can use let's talk about the agriculture sector. From Uganda Revenue Authority, we can already access data showing who are the market leaders in our country in terms of amount of produce that has come through them, amount of produce that has been exported, amount of produce that has been sold locally, whether as a processed or unprocessed goods. So it is out of that we end up working with lead farm partners like Mukwano Industries. So Mukwano is known in our country as a giant. And so we worked in partnership with them to request them, say, why don't you open up your doors to work with young people as your suppliers so that they can reap the benefit of the large market that you have access to. Okay. Yes.
All right. Then maybe goes my next question. How does the LFS approach optimize and increase benefits for actors in current structures?
Yeah.
And how does it help to organize new structures to work more collaboratively?
Okay, so it's an interesting question you're asking, because you are Ugandan, and you know one of the challenges we face in our with businesses in Uganda is that we all want to work on our own with our own approaches. And so as a result of that, you end up having so many small businesses doing the same thing. If we go together to Rome Street now, one building like this, we may come across at least 40 different businesses that are doing the same thing, selling the same type of clothes. They have the same supplier who supplies them. Yet they could actually get together and say, why don't we open up a large store, all of us together, and we agree on the rules of the game, how much we're going to be selling each shirt, each suit, each dress. So you can actually do that. What the lead farm structure approach does, it first of all helps to organize all the small and medium enterprises to think as one behind the market leader that they choose to work with. Okay. And I'll give you an example of Mukwano Millers. Mukwano Millers invested heavily in an oil mill in Lira, edible oil. So they make oil out of sunflower and soybean. Challenge is they were not able to get enough sunflower and soybean to crush through their machines. What did we do? We said, why don't we work with you to organize a number of young people that we can train together on how to grow high value sunflower and soybean. Your job is to buy from them. Your job is to share your quality standards with them. Your job also is, after you have produced this oil and packaged it, and it is clean, edible oil, give it to them for them to sell it for you at a commission. Now you compare that to me getting my own sunflower, I harvest it, and then I process it in my own Juakali way, get some oil and sell it out on the market. I may make some money, but the challenge with that is, what oil am I producing onto the market? Is it clean oil? Is it UNBS certified? To help you get rid of all that headache, we're telling you, know what, Seb, connect with the big boy. Kwano. Sell your sunflower. Let them do the processing, because they already have systems to do that. If they sell, they will need more buyers, and that is how you're going to win. That's how they're going to win.
Okay.
So, in not so many words, the lead farm structure approach helps to establish strong standards on the market. It also helps to ensure that all actors that are working together with a lead private sector partner have access to a market that's ready.
Well, Mr. Bazera, I must say we have to stop there. There's quite too much that we might not be able to exhaust.
Yes.
But ladies and gentlemen, as you heard yourself, the lead farm strategy, lead farm structure strategy,
Yes,
is one that you really ought to look out for if you are operating among the 5 major subsectors,
Yes.
sectors that they have mentioned. I think this is something you need to put an ear to. Otherwise, allow me say goodbye.
Opening up of the regional market and adoption of new technologies is key in catalyzing dairy industry development, says Jacqueline Kitony, the marketing manager, Tetra Pak East Africa. In an exclusive interview with BRU, Ms. Kitony underscored the need for the relevant authorities to promote milk consumption and the public to embrace innovative solutions in the sector.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to speak about what we do. So my name is Jacqueline Kitony Arao, and I'm the marketing director at Tetra Pak East Africa. And I'm here to talk about milk and why we should drink more milk. Yes.
Tetra Pak, just give us a brief history about Tetra Pak and exactly which sector do you play in?
Okay, so Tetra Pak is a family-owned business that deals with food processing and manufacturing, and this is in terms of the packaging and the processing equipment. And we call ourselves an end-to-end supplier because we work with our partners right from the farm level all the way to the consumer level, offering solutions at each level. So whether it is machines in terms of packaging, whether it's in terms of processing, whether it's innovations, whether it's working with the farmers. So we are what we call an end-to-end food manufacturer. So milk and juice is not just the only categories we're in, but from a global point of view, we are in the food category like ready-made meals. So whatever you can pack in a can, you can pack in carton. We are in alcohol space as well. So you can pack your spirits and your drinks in it. And we are in a lot of other innovative categories like in yogurts, in ice creams and all that. So we play in a wide range of space in the food industry. Okay, from the way you've elaborated, looks like you are into the packaging industry or the sector is very big, but I would like to know what makes you guys different, what makes Tetra Pak stand out? Okay, so Tetra Pak works in partnership with customers, and that's the difference in the market. What do I mean by that? So Tetra Pak is what we call an end-to-end supplier. Okay. So for instance, if it is you who wants to do a project, I will work with you right from the farm levels, identifying your gaps in the market. So whether it is setting up the plant, helping you run the plant, helping you open up new markets to sell your products, or understanding the customer needs, so we can innovate and co-create a product. So for us, how we work is in partnership, identifying the gaps in the market and solving that need. And what we call ourselves is more or less a value-based company. And that differentiates us from the rest because we are not transactional. We are partnering with the customers we work with and providing value to them. So in Uganda, who are your partners? We have several partners in the dairy space.
I can't name all of them.
I can't name.
Just a few on that.
There are those in the dairy space, you know, looking at Lato, looking at Jessa, looking at. They're quite a classic milk. They're quite a number.
I don't want to sound political, but you definitely know there have been challenges in the region as far as some countries that are a bit protecting their market from there is an element of protectionism. Does it in any way, from your own perspective, what do you think should be done to ensure that there is that easy flow of milk and dairy products from all these countries that are integrated in the East African community?
I see this as an opportunity. I don't see the restrictions as things that impede business opportunities, because what you need to do is look at where you are, look at what you need to do to grow your consumption where you are, right? So even as we look at flow of movements from one place to another, yes, that is still something that is important in terms of developing trade in the region. But how I look at it is in terms of opportunity to develop and grow the market in which you're in, because we know that East Africans are very loyal to their brands, right? We have Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, Bubu. We have Kenya, Build Kenya for, Build Kenya. We have Tanzania with their own, and the Rwanda with their own as well. How about looking at what do the consumers want? How can we be able to help meet that need and grow the local demand and grow the businesses also in the markets that we're in? So yes, the flow of milk is important, because trade has to flow. But how I would like to look at it is the opportunity that lies in those markets to develop their markets, so that the business, in terms of turnover, in terms of what consumers want, even grow further.
Several corporate entities, among them Uganda Breweries Limited and Centenary Bank, have announced a sponsorship package to Rotary's 98th District Conference slated for the 27th to 29th of April in Mbarara City. Rotary will use the event to promote upcoming cities and celebrate communities. Let's have a look in our corporate news.
So I'm really glad and excited to announce our partnership and sponsorship for the upcoming conference in Mbarara. We'll share the details, but it's over a tune of 150 million, so really excited to do that. We've been partnering with Rotary in the past, certainly over the last 15 or so years. I remember in Munyonyo 10 years ago being involved with Rotary as well. So this is a partnership that's getting even stronger. Speaking to this partnership specifically in Mbarara, I talked about UBL being about great performance, impacting communities positively, and then about celebrating life every day, everywhere. There's a fantastic idea that the Rotary Club has around the House of Friendship, which I think, thinking about what Rotary stands for, it's giving back to communities, but also really bringing people together and making friends. It's amazing the lifelong friendships that are actually made through Rotary. So we shall come in to enhance that experience with our various brands. First off, we shall have Johnny Walker. You have the striding man there who tells us to keep walking, so we should keep doing what we're doing.
This is an annual get-together. Rotary is in existence for doing good in the world. And after doing good in the world, day in, week in, month in, and year in, you need to have reason to sit down and celebrate the achievements of the year. Many clubs that we do have, and in this case, we are celebrating as Uganda and Tanzania geographical expressions. So we are not celebrating the demographic considerations of districts in terms of boundaries. We are looking beyond that because we are in existence to do good in the world.
We continue to be at the bottom of the pyramid, serving humanity, transforming lives of the various people in this country. Today is a special day for us because it's a twinning event whereby the two districts come together as one team. And this was something that came through born in, I think, in Arusha, whereby it was one team, people coming, two districts coming together to give one big celebration. And for us at Centenary, we look forward to being in Mbarara with you to be able to celebrate.
So as long as you're a farmer and you're producing in the right way, you have good quality, that is the criteria. But also it would always be good to have in stock a minimum of at least one bag, that is 60 kilogram bag, so that when you get a buyer, we can actually present the coffee other than presenting just a sample and you don't have the quantity that a buyer can actually buy.
Replace old inefficient appliances with more efficient ones. Lower the temperature after the cooking appliances have acquired the maximum heat while cooking. Use a pressure cooker to cook hard foods like beans, meat, peas and rice. Switch off cooking appliances when not in use. Cover cooking saucepans to minimize energy wastage. Use solid electric plates instead of electric coils. Avoid frequent cooking. Cooking should be done at least once. Boil water with a kettle that has a thermostat rather than a cooker. Use heat-conserving appliances like food flasks to avoid unnecessary warming of food.
I sign out with some words of wisdom. You become rich in your mind long before you become rich in your bank account. Credit Philip Michael on Twitter. Thanks for being part of the show. I bet we haven't disappointed. I've been your host, Dennis Iko.
UBC, inspiring